Hey there, welcome to the channel. It has been an interesting timeline for video games getting a movie or TV show adaptation, and The Last of Us on HBO Max has set the bar on what the game pulled off in 2013. While movies like Ratchet & Clank, Uncharted, and other adaptations have decent, mediocre, or terrible reviews. Some adaptations do whatever they want and tend to avoid the source material or become a bad joke to the fan base, while some or most will welcome the changes and don't mind the differences as long as it's a good film or show to watch. The one series I want to address is the Halo TV series on Paramount+. Now, I can't be the only one who believes that this took 9 years for this series to happen. On May 21st, 2013, Oscar-winning director Steven Spielberg announced in a pre-recording at E3 that he would be making the Halo series.
The Halo universe is an amazing opportunity to be at that intersection where technology and myth-making meet to produce something really groundbreaking.
Encouraging words, Mr. Spielberg. However, this wasn't the first attempt to get the Halo show off the ground. In 2005, Microsoft planned to make a Halo film after the success of Halo Combat Evolved and Halo 2. They took considerable risks finding these big Hollywood studios where the movie never happened. Rumors and plans to have Peter Jackson, Neil Blomkamp, and GDT himself make it. The production ended up halting in 2006, and Microsoft ended its partnership with Bungie in 2011. Then Microsoft hired 343 Industries to make Halo games. That's when Microsoft decided it would be better to establish the lore and universe of Halo as a series. Don Mattrick, the head of Microsoft's Xbox unit, gave Steven Spielberg a call. The premature announcement at E3 was their first move, which backfired. In 2014, Microsoft got the network company Showtime to work on the series, but they struggled with the effects and story of making it more like the Halo franchise. 343 Industries would claim that the show would debut in 2015, but that was a lie, and the network had to step away from production. Showtime co-president Gary Levine expressed it was undeniably a potent piece of intellectual property, but it was far afield from anything we'd done. The issue behind the scenes involved bringing the Halo game's backstory and turning it into a show with rich and engaging characters, while spending little on the visual effects. Showtime wasn't known for that, and so they departed. The other challenge for the production was sorting out Master Chief, so writer Kyle Killen gave him a narrative that followed his discovery of his humanity and past. Unfortunately, he couldn't commit to production without leaving his family to film in another location, so Stephen Kane took the helm. He spent 2 years during the pandemic working on drafts for the series. I have to give credit to Microsoft. You can pitch them something brand new, and unless it really complicated them in terms of the canon or the values of the show, they embraced it. Finally, on February 2021, Halo landed with Paramount+, a partner of Showtime, to air the series. Then the Halo TV show's first episode would be released on March 24th, 2022. But how did it do? Halo fans were livid. They waited years for this series release. After the first episode, each new one began to worsen, and the series was bashed. Die-hard fans didn't see this show as a good adaptation. The reason for this issue was that the showrunners admitted to a news outlet that said they didn't look at the games. While the showrunners claimed they started with the games but wanted to talk about the entire canonicity of the Halo franchise. But it was already too late. Social media spread negative responses, and the show was renewed for a second season, while the original showrunners would depart from the production after the first season. So I'm not sure what kind of ideas the producers have in store now. Everyone, bear with me as I take you on an expedition that is the Halo TV series and its story, so you don't have to watch it. I'll try to make it brief. The first episode takes place on planet Madrigal, where a group of rebels live going about their day and gossiping about the United Nations Space Command, or UNSC. Simultaneously, a group of teenagers are away from home looking for shrooms and stumble upon an alien ship. One thing leads to the next, most of them get ambushed and killed. They retreat back home to gain some help, and once the elites show up, it is a massacre. Almost everyone dies except for this girl named Kwan Ha, who lost most of her people and her father. Then Master Chief shows up alongside a team of Spartans known as Silver Team. They kill the elites and find out they are mining for a stone. Master Chief touches it and gets feelings. After they extract it, they bring Kwan to give her shelter. The UNSC provides help, but Kwan has trust issues and PTSD. Later, Chief talks to Kwan and she just asks him, "You don't question orders?" and he has a brain fart. Chief is then given the order to kill the girl for some reason, which he disobeys, also for some reason. Kwan still doesn't trust him, then Master Chief, right off the bat, just casually takes his helmet off. So now they're on the run to get Quan to a safer place, and John knows who to call. We get to this location where we meet John's older Spartan friend Soren, who went MIA and didn't want to be a part of the war anymore when they were younger. We get some exposition with this crazy old man named Reth, and from what I learned, Reth is from the Halo books, and he was described as a jackal. So, yeah. He explains the properties of the stone and how it only works for blessed people. Then we see High Charity, where the Covenant live, and we understand their interactions. We meet the prophets and learn they had adopted a human child because she was deemed their blessed one to help find the stones. Her name is McKee, and she was born on a garbage planet. And I can't make that up because everywhere looks like garbage to me. But the Covenant pay a visit, find her, and learn she possesses the power of the Blessed One. McKee is then taken away to a much better place to learn the ways of the Covenant and find the ancient Halo ring. John leaves Quan in the hands of Soren and takes the stone back to the UNSC for more info. When he arrives, everything is fine, and Dr. Halsey, the creator of the Spartan program, wants John to be combat ready, or more enhanced in her case. So through her efforts, she wanted to create a clone, which she totally didn't do, and made an AI named Cortana. Cortana serves her purpose of checking in on John's performance and helping him with any questions he has. They look into the stone, and when John touches it, he gains these memories of his life as a child. While he doesn't share with the class what John experienced, he starts to look for answers about his childhood. However, he feels restricted from doing so, until Cortana mentions this pellet in his body that represses his emotions for combat. Once he finds a way to take it out, he starts to act differently. But we also see John's partner from Silver Team, Kai, hiding and noticing what he did. So she does the same later on to herself and changes. So once John returns to touch the stone again, he finds out where he's from and learns of these drawings he did as a child, which meant something important. He lets Dr. Halsey know, and they both go to the planet to learn about his past to help him understand the stone more. Kai starts to act differently and becomes more friendly and expressive around others, which makes some enjoy her presence, but others question her behavior. Meanwhile, John rediscovered his childhood where he had a family, and he learned Dr. Halsey was there with him when he was a child. Later, he finds the next stone, and they call for the UNSC to extract it ASAP. John then learns that Kai removed her pellet and advises her to stay on the sidelines at all times, not knowing how she will react to her newfound emotions. This upsets Kai, but she follows orders anyways. During this time, McKee makes her way to infiltrate the UNSC, learn where the stone is, and locate the other Blessed One to find Halo. So she takes a trip to Madrigal to see any other power signatures that could lead to the other stone. With John, he gets irritated at how Halsey and most of the UNSC have kept secrets about his identity. John returns to the stone they found, touches it, and learns Halsey kidnapped him from his parents and erased his memories to become a Spartan. After this discovery, John attempts to kill Halsey until he gets deactivated by Cortana. Once he wakes up, he gets a warning that the Covenant found them. When John made contact with the stone, it communicated to McKee its location. We get another battle with Master Chief in action. During all of this, Kai starts to lose her cool and gets floored. When John comes to her rescue, he loses the stone. The Covenant drops McKee off as a prisoner who escaped, so the UNSC brings her in, not knowing that she somehow got a UNSC squad killed before. So of course she ends up trying to help them to get her hands on the stone. John has some physical issues, and McKee tries to convince him that they are identical, so she can access the stone and the pain would go away. So John tries the stone another time to get all of his answers. So finally he starts to see it all, including the legendary Halo ring. 6 episodes later, and they finally showed the Halo ring, and McKee is here. God, this show is ridiculous. So John and McKee go on a little date and have a good time. In bed. Yep, I hate this show now. This literally turned into fan fiction. Dr. Halsey has been grounded for many reasons and breaks many rules. But she learns about McKee and wants the stone to be taken away from UNSC so she can use it to help humanity become more resilient. She uses Silver Team to stop John to get the stone. However, Kai isn't under Halsey's control without the pellet, and so she goes against the orders and sides with John. Cortana then goes against Halsey after she tries to take down John, and then another fight ensues. Soon McKee tries to help John in his fight, but everyone finally figures out who she really is, and she gets access to the stone to create a massive blast and escapes with the stone. John then tries to stop McKee, but has to talk to his team to help them understand who they are and to stop fighting each other. With the help of Captain Keyes, he explains the truth and diffuses the situation. However, it's too late, and McKee escapes but realizes Halsey is running too. Kai then pursues her but fails, so now everyone must put their heads together, find the stone, and stop the Covenant. So Silver Team heads out to locate the stone and retrieve it. The final battle commences. McKee sees John in trouble, she just ignites the stone and finds a halo ring. Then McKee dies. Whoop-de-doo. Cortana takes over John's body, making him act like the Master Chief in the games. They leave, and why don't they kill the prophets? They're sitting right there. The UNSC eventually captured Halsey, or so they thought, and that's the end of this story. While Quan and Soren go on this awful trip back to Madrigal, where everyone keeps telling Quan to leave because she's wanted, and everyone she interacts with dies, and she keeps complaining to Soren, and then she goes on a little trip to learn about her people and her planet, to fight against Fincher, a dictator, and rebel against the UNSC. Then she goes home to kill a dictator with Soren, and they succeed. The end.
I'm weak.
Now, for those still watching, I bet you're interested in what I think of the series. To be honest with you, I stopped watching after the first episode. Okay, no, I eventually watched the entire show since I needed to for this video, but I can barely understand how this show got approved. The first episode from the beginning got me hooked. I thought this was a new way to introduce the Halo franchise. It got brutal and showed some fights and lots of deaths, but I couldn't help but start noticing a lot of strange moments that confused me. Who are these people? What do they serve the story for? Why does the Covenant show up and kill them all? Why does the UNSC take so long to save the people from being massacred? How is the UNSC corrupted? Why does the Master Chief constantly take his helmet off, especially in the first episode with no build-up? So there are specific people that connect to these rocks? Why do we need stones to find the Halo ring? And better question, why isn't this show taking place on the Halo ring? It's in the name. And I guess I understand that they wanted an origin story that establishes our characters and the planet Reach. Still, the narrative felt inconsistent and I was confused. There are barely any stakes happening and the games had a better way of establishing everything you need to know. Then boom, you're in the action. Instead, we followed this rude teenage girl who gets bullied and traumatized. The UNSC doesn't care about her people and her planet, and the Master Chief is somehow a celebrity. A random girl gets raised by the Covenant. The Spartans have a chip in their bottoms to not express emotions. None of this works for me, and it's okay for other people to like it or enjoy it. I felt that some situations didn't make sense to me, or this series was slow and dragged on getting to the point of the end. The dialogue sounded weird, making it awkward and hard to watch. I understand they wanted to tackle the story of Master Chief's origins, and it is a good story element on paper, and it was the same origin story used within the game's lore. But when you try to tie it in with finding the Halo ring, it feels so bloated and complex to follow when it takes a while to get to the point of this show. But I don't like how this was the way to adapt Halo, especially if you wanted to focus on the Master Chief. Master Chief works better as this quiet husk character, indoctrinated into war, and working alongside Cortana, who was created for war. It's how these two work so well together and why they're so iconic. The trilogy focused on the mystery of the Halo ring and learning its effect on the Covenant, and how it caused some cultish actions and division amongst each other. The UNSC knows its purpose and needs to destroy it, although the Prophet's propaganda encourages its activation to receive a form of salvation. It takes another species to humanize them into thinking they are fighting a good cause, but only to feel betrayed.
Make me a sandwich.
The character development wasn't good. They changed John by touching a rock. There was no careful process to establish this character and his real personality. He's always seen complaining to people and becomes a rude hypocrite. I wish he never took his helmet off so we can see a side of him that fights for the good of mankind while looking awesome, and has a more likable trait in protecting others, using his formidable strength and strategies to overcome all the odds against him. That way you can root for the character doing some good for the sake of mankind, or all the creatures beyond the Halo ring. That way you can give hints or foreshadow his discovery of his origins. It can build into this intriguing story of a Spartan trying to know his purpose, or if he's destined to follow orders and to serve forever. Bungie already created their character with Master Chief, and 343 had the decency to stay consistent, so changing it entirely is inconsiderate. Silver Team acts more like Spartans than John does. The characters would have been more bearable if they weren't written terribly in this series. They work alongside John and the UNSC, and if the show revolved around them instead of John with better directing, then I can see this as a series with potential. It would be more interesting to see the other Spartans react to discover their true identities and how they all would react. They even have moments where they understand their enemies to help them advance in their battles. It would have worked, maybe if the show had a different cast of Spartans or a focused history about them. Dr. Halsey is a terrible character. She is supposed to act authoritative like in the games, but the games have made her more assertive and determined to end the war and create a better future for mankind and the human species for years to come, while actually caring for the Spartans than controlling them. This Halsey felt like an upstuck mom who thinks she knows what's best because she says so. While she is consistent with her goals, she is an awful person. Her relationship with Captain Keyes and Miranda isn't good and isn't that appealing either. I don't like the other characters adapted into this series, and they all don't have a good quality trait to me and are really tedious to watch when they get screen time. I love their diverse characters, but I hated how they were represented. Captain Keyes and Miranda Keyes are in the show, and they are only there as a means of a family relationship that creates this strange drama that's just weird. In the games, it looks like they really loved each other dearly. I would have wanted to see Miranda be prepared to take her father's place and make him proud, showing her true talents and skills she can offer the UNSC, instead of being a translator or someone who receives timeouts. The Covenant has barely shown to be a threat like in the games. They may have conducted their ability in action scenes, but in Halo Reach, the Covenant glassed a planet, and they were gruesome creatures that dominated the war. They despised humans and proved it countless times. In the series, they hardly look like they're doing anything. The prophets are just there like they're ready to start a book club session or something. They also get pushed aside for the whole series to serve other human character purposes. Makee shouldn't be in this show at all, cause she was made as a plot device to gather the stones for the Halo ring. She just tells people what to do and the Covenant just obeys her. Still, I hate that this is the character to have the Master Chief lose his virginity with no reason, no chemistry between them. These two strangers know nothing about each other and are supposedly connected to the stones and just sleep together. But the ones I couldn't stand in this series altogether were Soren and Quan. Soren and Quan are just rude and selfish people. They are easily the most unlikable characters to be introduced into the show. They serve no purpose to the story and only cause trouble. They get many people killed, the people of Madrigal are hopeless, their leaders are killed, and Quan keeps making problems worse. Ultimately, this B-side story was unnecessary for this entire series and has nothing to do with Halo. Cortana is the victim of all this, and to me, she felt accurate from the games. And she's actually voiced by Jen Taylor, but I hate that she is stuck in this poorly made series. The visual effects could be better, and sometimes the CGI just looked terrible. The elites seemed promising, so they get a wart for that. They actually had jackals, grunts, and the ships all look accurate in design. The brutes seemed really good. The hunter worms are fine, but I would have liked to see the hunters in action with their whole body armor. The weapons and vehicles looked good, but the Iron Man helmet effect was terrible. Just when you didn't want to see John's face anymore, they decided to keep showing it from the helmet's point of view. They try to make the first person perspective like the games, but it looked stupid and I almost got nauseous having to watch everything move so fast with cartoon visual effects. They had a generic soundtrack for the series, and I hated how we didn't get or barely got the classic Halo theme composed by Marty O'Donnell. It also could have had some superb percussions that build the music up, like in Halo Infinite. I will never let go of the moments I felt in each level that hypes you up or sets the atmosphere for wonder, combat, curiosity, despair, and horror. The show does nothing to take advantage of that, and the intro music was lame.
I need a weapon.
The games will always have a memorable story. Bungie created this entire narrative around the Halo ring so well. I love the ideas they built with the incredible characters that brought a unique and exciting experience that you wanted more of. In fact, you don't have to do it exactly like this. The best examples are Landfall and Forward Unto Dawn. Landfall takes place in the events of Halo 3 and immerses you in this tactical fight that shows these brutes on the hunt to take out a squad with a mission to get a signal to find Master Chief. The scenes feel like you're watching actual camera footage of these battles, and they feel so grounded and make the Banshees look so realistic. The brutes, the weapons, and the vehicles are so accurate from the games. I wish we would have had a movie like this, or a series. Even if they still wanted to go the cinema route, Forward Unto Dawn is the best example, including an accurate Master Chief. We're introduced to this planet with young soldiers training in the UNSC military, and we learn about their training, experiences, and strategies to become the next generation of UNSC soldiers. They make you understand why these characters are essential and why we should care about them. Then an invasion begins where we get the action-packed scene where the Covenant have arrived to glass the planet. and we see ODSTs dropping and stopping them right in front of the campus. The atmosphere resembles a horror aspect where these young soldiers are unprepared as they're being hunted down by elites. It's like a Predator movie where they're the prey and they need to fight back. Then we finally meet Master Chief, who saves them and see him prepared for the trouble they'll encounter. I adore these and the many other examples of commercials that did a fantastic job making these trailers or short films look and act like Halo. So if I was the showrunner, I would 100% do my homework on the beloved IP franchise while hiring the original writers of the successful games and creating an adaptation that honors their work and does not overcomplicate it or butcher it.